Everyone knows that there is a difference between jogging and running, of course. Jogging is that slow, heavy way of moving forward just a little faster than walking. While running, it is faster, more springy, and not least important in time of social media, it's a much more beautiful way of moving forward on your two legs. It's like two completely different gaits, like the difference between a horse that is galloping or trotting. But what exactly is the difference? At what pace does jogging turn into running? And how should you stop being a jogger and become a runner? Let's find out in this week's video.
Don't miss this week's words of wisdom for runners at the end of this video. It's about 5 ways to get fast after 40.
You have probably already figured it out, but my name is Fredrik Zillén, as it's written on my shirt and on the wall back here, and I work as a running technique specialist here in my running technique studio in Stockholm, Sweden. And let's get to the answer right away, shall we? You want to know the difference between jogging and running. And the difference is nothing. Nothing at all. Well, yes, I know you didn't expect that answer, especially after my introduction where I said there was a difference. I lied to get a surprise effect. And that you probably think that I'm stupid because you know that there is a difference. You can feel it in your body. But please hear me out now. If jogging and running were two different ways of moving, like the difference between trotting and galloping, there should be a clear transition from one to the other. But there isn't. And that is because they are exactly the same movements. The only difference is that the movement gets bigger the faster you run. Much like this pendulum. Well, it's my phone charger, but you get the point. It's a pendulum right now. And if I release it from this height, it will be a small movement. But when I put a little bit more force into it and lifting it up here and then releasing it like this, whee, it will be bigger, but it is the same movement. Small, bigger, but the same. And here you see 10 Swedish elite runners who have been combined into one person and who runs at different paces. Yes, the movements get bigger the faster they run, but otherwise they are quite the same. This is the start of a cross-country race in Macau, Kenya. Everyone is running really fast and have a really good running technique. But look at what's coming here. This runner did not run fast at all, maybe 5 minutes per kilometer, 8 minutes per mile. But he still participated in various local races because he thought it was fun even though he came last. He also ran barefoot. This is what it looked like when he ran. It's not super slow, but it's still much slower than his competitors. It is a pace that could be classified as jogging, but notice that he still has a very good running technique. You see no overstride and a lot of other good things. But why is it that you can feel the difference? That it feels kind of heavy when you jog, and that is run slowly, and that you so clearly can feel that you have a better technique and it's lighter and better when you pick up the pace. This is because perhaps the biggest problem for all recreational runners is that they have an overstride. They land too far in front of their center of mass, in front of their hip. And that leads to longer contact time and, in most but not all cases, more braking forces. More braking forces and longer contact time means that you get less energy return from the elastic parts of your body, which makes it feel heavier. When you pick up the pace, you may have the same amount of overstride in centimeters or inches, but instead of having time to put so much weight on your foot when it's still in front of your center of mass, your body moves forward quite quickly so that you have time to move it up on top of your foot when you are at mid-stance, and that is the point where you have the most weight on your feet. With a higher pace, you also automatically get a shorter contact time, which makes your body feel lighter. But it is the increased pace that gives you the shorter contact time and probably lower braking forces. Not that you have changed your running technique and gone from jogging to running. This means that if you run with a poor technique at a slow pace, you will have roughly the same poor movement pattern at a faster pace. It's just that the faster pace means that you don't have the opportunity to ruin so much for yourself with your massive overstride and long contact time. And this can be a hard pill to swallow, but if it feels significantly worse and heavier when you run slowly compared to when you run faster, you probably have a poor running technique in both slow and fast paces. A poor technique at a slow pace probably means a rather poor technique at a higher pace. So my guess is that this guy isn't very fast even when he tries to run fast. But a good running technique at a slow pace probably also means a good technique at a higher pace and a lower risk of injury. No overstride and a great technique in many other ways. And I don't care if you perceive it as changing your technique. Just because you feel that the earth is flat doesn't make it true. And I would also now like to point out that since 2014, that's 10 years now, I have been analyzing runners' movements very precisely almost every day with my 3D cameras and have done probably up to 10,000 tests. I know what it looks like for different runners at different paces. I have the numbers. Even for those who say, well, I have another technique when I run fast than when I run slow. No, they don't. Well, some do, but most know it's just bigger. Same, but bigger. But now you may be thinking, but when I'm sprinting, I run differently. There's a difference between competing in 100 meters and a marathon. And that is correct. Sprint technique is quite different. That is about maximizing power, while long-distance runners must also try to conserve energy so they can run fast throughout the distance. And that's about it for today, except for this week's words of wisdom for runners.
How to get fast after 40. 1. Follow a program for continuity and progression. 2. Have a strength training. 3. Reduce junk food and alcohol. 4. Have good genes, a solid training background. No family requiring rides and romantic dinners, money for gadgets, coach, massage and training camps. No running injuries, BMI 19. Excessive competitive instinct bordering on manic. 5. Sleep at least 8 hours per night.
And if you also want an efficient running technique, I recommend my online course, of course, which you can find at www.fredrikzillén.com, unless you want it in Swedish, of course, because the Swedish version has its own website, fredrikzillenonline.se. See you in another video.